Good morning and welcome to the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel. My name is Daniel and I'm the owner of the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel and the Florida Weather Watch Facebook page. Thank you very much for joining on this Saturday morning as I deliver a important update for all of Florida as far as a very significant weather pattern change coming to the state of Florida. But before I continue, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That'll help me greatly expand this community and expand my outreach of weather information, weather education, and weather knowledge to more people. And please hit that like button down below. And feel free to comment if you have any questions or about my video or anything that's a curiosity. I'm always open to answering your questions. So, good morning. This is a Saturday morning update, and what you're seeing is a very different view than what I normally would show. Normally, I would show the satellite imagery, but what I'm showing is what is called the Mimic TPW. TPW stands for Total Precipitable Water. And what total precipitable water means is how much moisture, how much water content is there in the atmosphere. And on this view, what this shows us is where there's areas of drier air and where there's actually areas of much more moist air and even storms here. And what's today is the biggest change is the fact that we are now seeing a big moisture surge coming from the Caribbean here that is finally going to deliver drought relieving rains to the state of Florida. So what we got going on here right now is we have a big area of much above very moist air right here in the Western Caribbean here. This is like 2 to 3 inch precipitable water. That is some very deep tropical moisture that is converging in the Caribbean right now. And I want you to notice that now the direction of that very deep tropical moisture is surging northward. It is surging northward towards the Florida Peninsula here. So you can kind of see how the water starts now feeding in to the South Florida region here. All this tropical moisture is now starting to enter the Florida Peninsula for the first time in many months from the Caribbean here. And this is some much needed rainfall that is going to be coming into the state of Florida here. So, all this tropical moisture that is in this region right here, that is now gathered over the Northwest Caribbean, this will now be starting to move northward towards the Florida Peninsula in the next several days. And why is that also happening? Well, first of all, we have an area of high pressure that is now developed over Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. That on the western side of that high pressure system, it's going to funnel the moisture in. And then we also have, you can kind of see here, where there's kind of this upper level flow coming from the Gulf of Mexico that is going to stream over the Florida Peninsula, concentrating a lot of the rainfall in the next several days over the Florida Peninsula here. So, a much wetter weather pattern starts today across the Florida Peninsula here. This is the GFS model, latest GFS model here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play it through the first at least 168 hours. That's 1 week out. Okay, so what you're going to notice is as I play this through, you're going to notice that there's more moisture available in South Florida here starting today, going into tomorrow. And then it really starts picking up on Monday here. Monday, there's a lot more moisture available. There's going to be a lot of scattered to numerous scattered showers and thunderstorms that build up over the coming week. And then the later part of the week really starts seeing a lot of this tropical moisture feeding into Florida. This is for Thursday morning. Actually, Thursday morning, it starts developing a weak area of low pressure um, in the eastern Gulf here. And all this is a lot of deep tropical moisture that's going to swing around into the Florida Peninsula right over here. So what's going to happen is we're going to have daily rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Lots of heavy rain is going to be coming on Thursday, according to the GFS Friday, and this could be eventually become a flooding threat. Because I want you to notice, watch how this rain just, watch how this tail right here kind of develops over the entire Florida Peninsula in this region here. Just watch how the heavy rain just continues to funnel up through the state of Florida. That's Friday morning. Big concentration of very heavy rain in southeast Florida here. This low just hangs out in the Gulf of Mexico and gets stuck there and continues to bring in tropical moisture every single day, all the way through Saturday of next weekend, Sunday of next weekend. There's still moisture around the Florida Peninsula here, so it's going to be an extended period of uh, scattered showers and thunderstorms on a daily basis. Actually, um, let me go ahead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on what's called the total QPF. QPF is quality precipitation forecast. And let's go ahead to 168 hours. That would be, no, let's go to Saturday morning here. And by Saturday morning, the GFS model shows a big concentration of rainfall in the southern half of Florida here. The GFS is forecasting 4.8 inches of rain by next Saturday morning in Palm Bay, 5.3 in Sarasota, 7.3 inches in Cape Coral, 6.1 in Port St. Lucie, 7.5 inches of rain in Miami, and the big winner would be West Palm Beach at 9.4 inches of rain. And there's a secondary concentration of rainfall that would be for Panama City here and even Jacksonville up here. So a lot of rainfall is going to be coming to Florida based upon a lot of the computer forecast models coming into agreement that there's going to be a big surge of tropical moisture that comes over the state of Florida over the next several days. Another thing to note is the actual precipitation forecast itself for the next 7 days. This is through Saturday morning at 8 a.m. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. So they take all the computer forecast models, they bring them together, they analyze them, and they come up with this forecast based upon averaging the computer models. And you can see big bullseye, big concentration of a heavy rain for the southern half of Florida here over the next 7 days. These areas desperately need rainfall. The reason why I say they desperately need rainfall, ladies and gentlemen, is because the southern half of Florida is in a pretty deep drought right here. Uh, in This is the drought monitor for the state of Florida here. You're going to notice the entire central section here, the lake, what I'm going to call the greater Lake Okeechobee region down to Broward County here. There is a now D2 stage drought. D2 stage means it is a severe drought. Um, so these areas right here are in desperate need of rainfall because the drought is just continuing to get worse in these regions, mostly because of the fact that we've had some very intense heat as well. Many days have seen many areas reach or even break 100 degrees over the past several weeks. So another good benefit for all this rainfall that's going to be coming is that it's going to also drop the temperatures. Now, even though there's a lot of stuff that is gathering here in the Caribbean, and a lot of people get worried about uh, a lot of thunderstorms gathering in the Caribbean, the good news is there's not an anticipation of anything forming in the Caribbean. There's not a worry about a tropical system. The National Hurricane Center says tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. And the biggest reason why is because we still have a lot of wind shear going on here in the Caribbean here. So let me go ahead and denote this in white here. So what we got going on is these red colors show very high amounts of wind shear in this area of the Caribbean. And when you got very high wind shear, these thunderstorms can't really organize together into a solid area of low pressure. So it's going to be more scattered rainfall. So as long as this shear is in place, and it's also coming from a bad direction too. It's coming from the north and west here. So when it's coming from the northwest, it's going to shove all of the rainfall onto the east side here of whatever low develops over the Gulf here. So that's why also Florida is going to get a lot of rainfall because of the direction of the winds and the wind pattern that's developing over the next several days. So the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a major weather change here in the state of Florida. A big, we're going to see a big surge of tropical moisture coming from the Caribbean here. This entire tropical moisture shield is starting to rotate and move towards the Florida Peninsula here. And we are anticipating some very heavy rainfall over the next 7 days in the southern half of the Florida Peninsula from Daytona southward, especially concentrating in the southern third of Florida here, where there's going to be a lot of moisture, a lot of thunderstorms, a lot of showers collecting over the next several days here to produce some much needed drought relief for South Florida and for even parts of Central Florida here. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll provide further updates as the situation evolves. I'm going to also release more information on my Florida Weather Watch Facebook page as well. But I am going to do daily updates now because this is going to be a situation where we may have a sneaky little low develop over the Gulf. I know people would be worried about a low over the Gulf of Mexico and also with flooding potential over the next 7 days. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a much needed weather pattern change because this severe drought has just gotten worse, and these absurdly high temperatures that we've experienced from May into June now, we need some relief here in Florida, and this will definitely bring down the temperatures finally in the state of Florida. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a spectacular Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much for joining. And as I always close out all my YouTube videos and updates with um, a quote from my late great cross country coach Jim Richardson: "There'll be weather, weather or not, but no matter how wet the weather is going to be, I'll be here to keep you ahead of the storm." Thank you very much for joining. God bless you all, and have a wonderful weekend ahead.